Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Yo.
This is the... It's Yo?
Yo. That's right, I'm mixing it up.
All right. This is the Two Nerds podcast. Today we're talking about Captain Mar-Vell.
The newest Mar-Vell Cinematic Universe movie from the Mar-Vell Cinematic Universe.
It feels so long.
Since we had one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute, buddy. There was a gap.
I know. If you go back to our fucking Infinity War podcast and listen to that, you'll hear me bitching about the gap.
And we're finally on the other side of it.
And there's so many more good movies coming. I'm looking forward to this.
2019 looks like it's going to be a good year for the films.
Good year for films. Captain Mar-Vell.
No, it's Carol, actually.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying. Spoilers. Speaking of spoilers, we don't really do the seconds of pause afterward, but spoiler-free review.
It's a Mar-Vell movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun.
Good.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. Podcast's over. He's back. The man behind the man. Oh. Fucking references in jail. It's going to be a good one. Okay. So there's absolutely no structure to our podcast, and that's one of its charms.
Sure. Okay.
What'd you think?
It was a Mar-Vell movie.
I mean, like, I guess that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah.
It's very much like the spoiler-free review section.
It has the things I like in Mar-Vell movies. It has a lot of the same problems a lot of Mar-Vell movies have. Mm-hmm. It's got a few problems that are all its own.
It's a middle-of-the-road Marvel movie. This isn't something that, like, blew me away or changed my thoughts on things.
I would put it above Ant-Man 2.
Yeah, it's in that cloud of Ant-Man, Black Panther, Thor.
See, I put Black Panther a step above that cloud.
Oh, I would too, but, there are other people who have slightly different opinions. And I think they're all in the general same weight bracket.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because as much as I did love Black Panther as well, I feel they both had similar problems. Doctor Strange probably falls in there too, even though I really don't care for that movie.
And I really like it, so on balance.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Captain Mar-Vell fan, comics wise.
I have very strong opinions about Carol Danvers in the comics, and they're not positive ones.
Well, we went into this saying this could be another opportunity to make a new MCU Tony Stark.
Yeah, this was their opportunity to take a character who I think has a lot of problems on the printed page that make her hard for me to enjoy at best. We'll put it like that. And they had this opportunity to do what they did with Tony Stark, because I've been very open about the fact that before Robert Downey Jr., I did not like Iron Man. He was a tool bucket.
Especially, literally, when the film dropped. I mean, we were just coming out of Civil War, the comic Civil War.
Where
Tony's a dick.
Yeah, Tony's an asshole. And Captain Mar-Vell comes out pretty soon after Civil War II,
yeah.
where Carol is a dick. I don't think no, you know what? It's not even think. For me, all opinions expressed on the Two Nerds podcast are just that, opinions. They didn't. They failed, not spectacularly, but they did fail to create the Robert Downey Jr. transformation. This Carol is better than comics Carol, but that's an exceptionally low bar.
She definitely feels like a hero. A lot more.
Oh yeah. Now see, that I will not dispute.
Yeah.
She feels very, very much like a hero. You pointed out as we were talking after watching the movie, and I think you nailed it. This is a really, really good Green Lantern movie.
Yeah. It's tongue-in-cheek, good jokes and all that shit. Fuck, honestly, the way movies have been going, stay tuned for the Green Lantern film in 2022, which will borrow plot elements violently exactly from this movie.
Good. Do so. This is a good Green Lantern movie. This is about the triumph of the human spirit and unwillingness to give up, overcoming, adversity, and a man and a lady flying through space, shooting laser beams and blowing stuff up.
And there's aliens and the right stuff.
Yeah, and the Air Force. I mean, really, if her name was Hal Jordan, this would have just been a Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
This is all right. Hey, an alien even died, and she got her powers. Died in a big plane crash, and she got her powers right after. Spoilers for the movie, by the way.
Hey, we passed the spoiler-free review time.
Like the more I shake this, the further it settles into being correct.
Yeah.
Captain Mar-Vell, best Green Lantern movie so far.
I'm struck with like a dearth of things to say, but not for a bad reason. Like,
no, it's just it's not a revolutionary film.
No, and it's a pretty action-heavy film. Like,
that's another thing. Once you get past the opening, it
has
good pacing, which is pretty standard for a Marvel movie, but one of the problems it has is that the villains are a little flat, and that's true of a lot of secondary Marvel movies.
Yeah. I don't know, though, because of all the twists, like, I feel like we get some really good characters overall.
I'm still not happy about that one twist. Like, I'm not mad about it, but I like Super Skrull. Like, Super Skrull's awesome. Actually, I looked this up. More spoilers. Twist. Skrulls are the good guys. Or rather, Skrulls aren't also assholes. The Kree are still assholes, as they always have been. They're the fucking Kree.
I mean, I think Skrulls might be, a diverse people.
That's actually, I was looking this up, and I can't remember if it was Feige or somebody else at Marvel said there are good Skrulls and bad Skrulls in the same way there are good people and bad people.
Yeah.
Super Skrull's still on the table. So I'm not as mad as I was coming out of the theater.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they used Talos by name, because there are so many other Skrulls in the fiction, and Talos is the one Skrull who can't shapeshift very well.
And one of his defining characteristics in this movie is that he's good at shapeshifting and kind of boastful about it.
He even has like a little bit about it.
Yeah. Like,
it's a weird choice.
He's like an E-list character.
Sure. I just there's all those, I don't know, Talos is a good name though.
They made more drastic changes to characters much higher up on the tier list, let's say.
Like Meek. I honestly don't care. And I really don't care. I just, from a design point, as someone who designs worlds, we'll put it, I can't imagine looking at the source material and going, well, I've got this guy with this name and this guy with this name who does something completely different.
Well, just use this guy. Yeah. It's a cooler name.
Probably. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but Train is back. It's good to have the third nerd in the podcast.
Hey, Train. Normally, one of the things we do when we go over a movie is we kind of go by the plot. There's not a lot to go through here. It's a superhero origin story. You've seen one to a certain extent. You've seen them all.
It's kind of Tarantino cut, and I appreciate that because I think the movie would have been a lot less. Whoa, sneezing. Whoa, I got the sneezes. I'll edit that out later.
You definitely won't. I wouldn't call it Tarantino cut. It has one specific section they keep cutting back.
I mean, I suppose. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. But it's not straightforward. It's not, linear timeline, and I appreciate that because I think if it were a linear timeline, it would have been a lot more boring.
Well, yeah, because the majority of the plot of the first 2/3 of the movie is that flashback.
Right.
And Carol deciding to remember more of it based on mild reminders.
I don't know. Maybe that's how amnesia works. I've never had amnesia.
Dude, it's movie amnesia. It works however they want it to work. I'm not saying it's a plot hole. I'm saying it was somewhat silly to watch.
But, I think that feeds overall into the vibe of the movie because I saw this written, and it was obvious at the time if I'd given it half a thought, but part of the reason I liked this is because it was just a 90s action movie. It was stupid. It was fun. Nothing meant too much. Nothing had to make too much sense. But it was upbeat. And that's the kind of action films I like. Just, dorky, whatever, upbeat kind of action fun.
Yeah, that is. And that's not really my bag for action movies, so
Yeah.
it's not surprising I liked it a little less.
I mean, it's not, like I said, like we said at the top of the podcast, this isn't anything revolutionary, but it's also not shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fine movie.
It's right in that middle.
There are... I want to take... Because I'm being somewhat critical here. I want to take time to talk about the stuff I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the action scenes. I really enjoyed Captain Marvel's power sequences, like where she's beating ass. They did a good job with those. They got a little shaky cam with some of them, but
The beginning was the worst of it.
but it got more comfortable as the movie went on, and the final power scene where she's like fully powered and now she's Green Lantern. It works. It works real well. There's the very last thing she does that's super badass is she just blows up one of the enemy ships, and then like punches her knuckles into her other hand like an anime villain, and it makes like a supernova effect. And then Ronan the Accuser's like, back up, back up, back up, back up. And it works real well. It was funny and really badass.
They had a lot of really good funny lines in this.
It had the requisite number of Marvel-esque quips.
Yeah.
And it also had a problem that it shares with a very specific other Marvel movie. The reason I wanted to mention the stuff I really liked about the movie, the Marvel-esque quips are really good. I really, really enjoyed the cat, because of course I did. And
I will let you get to your point in a moment, but
No, we got time.
yeah. I'm trying to fill it. I really appreciated, as much as I thought the beginning was a little slow, like we're talking about the first 15, 20
Not
minutes.
in the way I minded, but yeah, it definitely was.
I still was really interested in the rest of her team.
Well, yeah, they were designed to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, they were kind of cool, and like, I don't know, that was nice. Like, it was hard for me to give a shit about the Kree for a number of reasons. I've never cared about most of the alien races in Marvel Comics. But I don't know, the characters, they had their little neat hooks, and it made me interested. And it's been a while since something has done that for me. I guess Aquaman, but that was the only compliment amid a sea, of failures.
Disagree. Aquaman was great. Aquaman better than this movie.
Oh man, I'm glad we're friends. No, I mean Aquaman wasn't as bad as my initial reaction to it was, but I still had that initial reaction. Yeah, I appreciate that there have been more films lately that have made me want to know about the expanded universe, that made me want to theoretically go buy the book that explains what the hell is that one guy's name? Atlas was up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but please, carry on with your point.
So I'm going to take you back, listener, to the Thor Ragnarok podcast.
We're here.
And where, if you go back and listen to that podcast, you'll hear me bitch a fair amount. Perhaps a long time. I don't remember, but I'm almost certain I did mention at the time the problem I had with the jokey jokes undercutting what should be very serious, dramatic moments. Specifically, the highlight for me, the one that really nails down the central theme of that is Korg fucking doing shitty quips while Asgard is being destroyed. I'm still pretty salty about that moment. It's a really off note in an otherwise real good movie. Captain Marvel has its own version of that, and I don't know if I will. I don't know how long it'll take me to get over being salty over this one. There are a couple moments where it's clear they're trying to tie in a bunch of stuff to make Captain Marvel the origin of a bunch of stuff in the MCU because it takes place in the 90s. And I don't mind those to a certain extent. For instance, the fact that she is apparently the reason for the name of the Avengers Initiative. Okay, fine. And that's a little hacky, but whatever. I got upset about what happened to Nick Fury. Nick Fury, spoilers, loses his eye in this movie. Nick Fury loses his eye and attains his badass fucking iconic eye patch in this movie. How does this happen, you ask? During a cool gunfight with a bunch of Kree warriors? Does it happen with him fist fighting a Skrull? Does it happen with him, withstanding torture to prevent giving up information in true Nick Fury fashion? No, a kitty cat scratches it out. Ha 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 ha. Let's talk about acting. Samuel L. Jackson is wonderful as always. He steals most of the scenes that he's in. Let's see here. I had a list of the cast up.
I really like the guy who played the main Skrull.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah. I've looked at his name 1,000 times in the last 24 hours, and it's just such a regular name. But not like one of those simple, short, regular names. It's easy to remember. I liked him a lot. And I liked how they showed his range, with him. As I understand it, he was just the actor playing the S.H.I.E.L.D. guy. Like, that wasn't somebody else.
Yeah, just Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool because he was playing a different character, and it was a great way to show his range. From being this sort of snarky, determined character that Talos was, versus, the cover. That was, I don't know. I just... How cool that they gave an actor an opportunity to do that in a situation where it would have been just as easy to cast somebody completely different.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Good child acting from the girl who played Spectrum.
We can hope. We can always hope and dream that Spectrum is on the way. I like Spectrum.
I mean, they dropped it a couple of times. They might end up calling her Photon or whatever, but...
Spectrum's such a cooler name.
I like
She
Spectrum.
even changed her name in the comics to Spectrum because Spectrum is a cooler name.
It is.
That was actually her motivation.
Yeah. And of course, what's that guy's name?
What do you play?
Bad guy man.
Yonrog?
Yes, thank you.
Jude Law.
Jude Law. He's good as always. I mean, that's...
Shout out to his last scene where he's trying to convince Carol to do the all right, turn off your powers and fight me fair, and then she just laser blasts his ass because no, I have laser blasts. Why wouldn't I use my laser blast?
Yeah, and actually, can we talk about that for a second? Because I
really liked that.
I did too. I am glad, and I know we had a similar scene in Deadpool, taken to the nth degree, of course, because it's Deadpool. But it feels nice to have the diversity of moralities. If that was Captain America, he would have tried to give him another chance. If that was Spider-Man, he would have tried to
talk him down.
Yeah.
But Captain Marvel, no, I got time for your bullshit.
Even if that was Iron Man, he probably wouldn't.
Iron Man would have quipped about it though.
He would have quipped.
Pass, and then he would have shot him.
Sure, maybe. Well, it depends on the Iron Man. If it's Iron Man 1 Iron Man, yeah. If it's post-Avengers Iron Man, don't do this. Don't make me do this. Don't give me responsibility for anything.
We only ever see him fighting people he likes now, though.
But she just did it, because she knew he could take it, and he'd be fine, and he needed to know.
I win. I'm better. Shut up.
Yeah.
And also because it was a stupid idea to do. They established really early on in the movie that... He's way better than her at, martial arts. And it's not close.
Well...
And, the movie takes place over 3 days. Her getting a bunch of new laser powers isn't going to make her better at karate. So, it would have been stupid. I would have thought Carol was acting stupid if she'd taken him up on the offer. Even if she won, because of course she wins, she's the protagonist, it's a bad plan to take him up on that challenge. And so she acts smart and uses her fucking laser hands to finish the fight like a smart person. I really liked that.
Not only was it smart, I feel this is another thing I need to compliment this movie about. The subtext and the show don't tell is fantastic.
I would say it's good. I wouldn't say I'd go fantastic because I have some issues with the emotional core of the movie.
And I mean, that's the funny thing is because that's the part that is so ham-fisted, but is at the same time so stereotypically, this is what happens about the movie. You know what I mean? Tropey is, I guess, the word I'm looking for.
It's a very tropey film in general.
I don't even know that that's what I would call the emotional core of the film, but I could also see somebody saying that. So, for me, the big emotional core is the fuck yeah humanity. The thing that they set up in the beginning and knock down in the big montage at the end.
The bunch of flashbacks where she apparently is related to just an entire family of Stephen King bullies.
Yeah.
Then it comes back to her, but every time she got Stephen King bullied, she got back up. Because that's what humans do, man.
And then, from the beginning, they're also talking about, you defy authority all the time, and you do this,
She's a loose cannon captain who doesn't play by the rules.
But she is...
God, this is such a fucking 90s movie.
It really is.
She's Top Gun with laser hands.
She's like that because she's human and not Kree.
And they spend the whole movie really reinforcing that her strength derives from the fact that she's human, not Kree.
Right. And then that big moment is when she's like, no, that big fuck yeah humanity moment. So one of the things I love about the whole blaster scene, where she blasts Yog Sothoth or whatever his name was.
Yonrog. It's a dumb comic's name, but it's 2 fucking syllables.
I keep forgetting, man. I'm lost in the sauce here, okay? I like that because a lot of the shit he's saying is, okay, fight me with yourself. Don't use your special powers that you have always had through this whole movie and we were inhibiting. Just fight me, you and me, one-on-one.
Fight me like a Kree.
She doesn't say anything about it, which I thought was great, but she blasts him, and the whole message there is, this is me.
Yeah, she walks up, and I swear I thought, it was fight me as yourself. I really thought the line was going to be, this is me.
But it wasn't
there.
No,
it was, I have nothing to prove to you, which is cold as fuck, by the way.
It's amazing.
Nice.
Now, the scene where they're breaking into the Pegasus base, there's a lot of show don't tell there. A little heavy-handed, but it got my mind asking questions, and that's what I liked about it. So Samuel L. Jackson hands his identification over to the security dude, who has his thumb over his last name, and I'm like, why the hell are they lingering on this shot?
Is Nick Fury's name gonna be something different? Is it gonna be a Han Solo situation?
Yeah. I
had that exact same thought.
Right, and then they get in there,
and then they roll back to it.
And he takes the fingerprint.
He gets to be a cool spy guy. They undercut it 5 seconds later. Honestly, Nick Fury kind of gets the short end of the stick in this movie. He's really relegated to comic relief. And he's Nick fucking Fury. He should have gotten at least one scene where he was cool. Especially if they were going to do the eye patch thing.
I feel like he had a lot of badass moments.
You know what? I'm wrong. He did fist fight a Skrull while driving a car.
Yeah, and he had a lot of good moments.
I'm actually wrong. That Skrull fist fight where he choked the Skrull out was really fucking badass. I'm very wrong.
Thing with the thumbprint was cool.
It was just cool spy shit.
Unnecessary. And I honestly, there's a similar moment in The Crow, sort of, where the captain of the police is giving this big speech that doesn't matter, and Ernie Hudson knows it, and I think the audience knows it, and then Ernie interrupts her. After he's done, Ernie says all this contradictory stuff, and he's like, it was a good speech, I didn't want to interrupt it. But he's being sassy and, mean. Whereas I feel like in this situation, when he gets his little thumbprint out and she just blasts the door open, she's being more like, no, I wanted you to have your moment.
You thought it was genuine?
Yeah, I felt it was very genuine. So they set up all that stuff, and they set up the conversation, the funny conversation of, what do you call your mom? Fury. What does she call you? Fury. It's only ever Fury.
What if you have kids? If I have them, Fury.
They get in an elevator with a guy who's a Skrull,
and they pay it off by having the Skrull call him Nicholas or Nick or whatever.
And he doesn't say anything. There's that beautiful lingering visual storytelling.
Side note, bonus points for the movie. There's no fucking music sting.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't dun dun. They don't do that. Which is, the temptation is really strong, movie, and I respect you more for having said no.
And I love that he double checks.
Yeah, like maybe it's just a weird moment.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy was just having an off day, but then he double checks. He's like, "All right, let's double check," and he like floats an obvious, what is to us the audience, an obvious falsehood. And because it's not in universe, the scroll falls for it because that's what scroll. That's how you find scrolls.
I feel this is another Nick Fury badass
You're
moment.
right, that was a pretty cool thing. Like, yeah, it wasn't like him punching motherfuckers, but it was very spy.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury's a spy. I was thinking like Howling Commandos.
Right.
That's the Fury I wanted to see.
I love Howling Commando's Fury, and I'm sad he doesn't get to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I will accept the Fury they give me. But I love also that he doesn't immediately try to fist fight the guy.
No, because
he gets off the elevator. He sets up a ruse that he can
ruses him
break.
immediately, and then immediately goes and tries to find his ally, so as they don't get split up. And he's also trying to bring in the lady with laser hands. I mean, that's just smart play.
Sure. But overall, it's just really clever stuff. It's great, like elevation of stakes. But it's quiet. It's not, like you said, there's no big music stings. There's no them talking and explaining exactly what they're doing as they're doing it, or their emotional reasoning.
They don't explain a lot.
No.
I like that.
Yes.
Because I'm not a stupid. Now, I was a stupid about one thing. I was a very stupid. So stupid I had to Google it after the movie. And then thinking about it, the movie did show me this and didn't tell me it. And it's on me for not having noticed. I was really confused about how the hell Mar-Vell got a hold of the Tesseract, got a hold of the Space Stone. Because last we saw it in the continuity line, it was with Howard Stark.
Brief interruption. I just want to say that I appreciate they kept Mar-Vell's hair, despite the switch.
Yeah, they changed... Mar-Vell's a girl in this one. But they kept the hair, which honestly is almost more important.
Yeah.
So, good for them. But, anyway... how the hell did she get a hold of the Tesseract of the Space Stone? And it was last with Howard Stark, like I was saying. And I didn't put it together until after the movie because I was Googling what the hell, because I was trying to figure out, because I didn't want to immediately go plot hole. I wanted to see if there was an explanation. Maybe it was like in, like you mentioned, maybe it was like in Agent Carter, they lost it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never watched Agent Carter, so.
Me neither. So I looked it up. No, I just don't remember the tiny plot details from 2012's The Avengers. Because the Tesseract was in a building up on a big mountaintop called Project Pegasus. The name of the project in this movie, where they're, using what we find out later is the Tesseract to make a lightspeed engine, because it's the fucking Space Stone. That makes sense.
Yeah.
To, blah, 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 plot stuff. Is called Project Pegasus, which really just makes sense based on Pegasus. That's a really cool name.
And it's an acronym for something that I don't remember.
I absolutely know it wasn't planned in advance, but it could have been, and I like that. But yeah, it just makes sense that Mar-Vell, in Lawson, I think was her name.
I believe you're right, yeah.
And she was the head of this project. She would definitely have had access to the Tesseract, so of course she just fucking took it. And it also helps explain in the movie why the people in the facility are so sketchy.
Yeah.
And so unwilling to tell Nick to deal with them. Not just that they were covering up the accident that, got Carol's memory taken away and killed Mar-Vell. I say accident, it was an attack, obviously. Not just because they were covering up, but because they lost the fucking Tesseract that Captain America got from the Red Skull in World War II. Yeah, if you were the security guy who lost the fucking Tesseract, you wouldn't want visitors either. It was a really, really good filmmaking detail, and it slipped past me, and I wanted to compliment the movie on it.
There's a lot of good shit in the details of this film.
Yeah, a lot of the period details they're not exactly right. It didn't get the timeline and a lot of stuff exactly right.
The only thing that brought me out of the movie, and it only did it for a second, was the scene with, I think it was Come As You Are.
Yeah.
Playing, when they made such a big deal about, she was off the planet by 1989. then how does she know that song so deeply enough that it's part of her subconscious? Because it didn't come out until later.
And there's a couple times they do stuff like that, or they play some very iconic 90s tunes that weren't actually around in 1995.
Yeah, the Blockbuster is full of that shit. There's like movies that were not out yet on DVD or rather video.
It's tiny nitpicky shit.
Sure.
But I don't mind it because it's not meant to evoke 1995. It's meant to evoke the 90s.
Yeah, it's this delightful thing that now you and I are being able to see movies that are, drawing on nostalgia that come from the nostalgia that we had as kids.
Yeah,
we lived through this.
What? It's always the one of the good things about aging is you finally get old enough that the pandering period pieces are now about when you were a child. Instead of the Bad News Bears, it's this. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Being pandered to isn't my favorite thing, and this movie does get pandery a couple times about the 90s. But I'm okay with it because it was sauce. It wasn't the meat and the veg of the meal. It was just like it was, just a little bit of taste of 90s nostalgia here and there.
And they didn't hit you quite as hard as like say that 80s show or even that 70s show where, occasionally a joke would be played. Star Wars is coming out. Wah, 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 the 70s.
I think all the actors on that 70s show would love that joke.
I bet. That 70s show was not as bad as that 80s show. That was basically the plot of that 80s show.
And we have now figured out why one of those shows had like 9 seasons, and one of them did not.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. This podcast worked a little bit like the movie. Started kind of slow. We ramped up. I mean, we had a big explosive finale.
Yeah.
And it felt very comic booky.
I like Captain Mar-Vell. As often happens on the podcast, the more I talk about it with you, listener, the more I end up liking the film. Because I like to focus on the positive. I got problems with it, so much so that we got some dead air because Spork was all awkward.
I edited it out. It's fine.
You absolutely fucking did that.
The sneezes are staying, the dead air is going. The listener right now is going, oh, I'm getting behind the scenes stuff. How interesting.
Yeah,
there was dead air.
This podcast doesn't have a fourth wall. We done here?
The one last thing I wanted to say is that this movie makes me hopeful for expanded Marvel Universe. I was worried. Guardians of the Galaxy should have showed me we weren't worried, but I was.
You were worried
I'm sorry, I have to stop for a second. We have James Gunn back. Do you
yeah,
all know that?
Batista gets what he wants, everybody. Woo! James Gunn is back. This movie was not as good as I hoped it would be. Way better than I thought it would be. So I'm much more sanguine. This movie settled my nerves about the state of the next phase of Marvel.
Sanguine's a good word for that. That's a good nerdy word.
God, I wish this was a visual podcast. You're never finding out what he just did. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.